All right, in this video, we're gonna get into some really cool tactics you can utilize to help increase your total and free testosterone levels naturally. Now, the craziest thing, right? The craziest thing is that in the last 4 decades, since the 80s, testosterone levels have gone down about 40%. From 1999, they've gone down 25%. So testosterone levels are on a rapid decline. Your father and your grandfather had far higher testosterone levels than you. Having high levels of testosterone feels very good. It benefits you massively. It makes you a better leader. Taking risks feels better. Effort feels good. Your sex drive is higher. You have a certain je ne sais quoi about you. And having low testosterone levels can be one of the worst things for males. You're more depressed. You're shy from competition. You're not the same confident person around women. So absolutely getting your testosterone levels handled is very important. But in this current landscape, having testosterone levels in a healthy high level is actually very hard to do. So let's get into some really good steps you can use to get your testosterone levels to where they should be. Now, the first most important thing you can possibly do to get your testosterone levels to where they should be is getting lean, below 15% body fat. In fact, your waistline and total testosterone levels are actually inversely correlated. The higher fat that you have, the lower your testosterone levels become. And the risk is, if you're obese for a long period of time, you can actually be in a position where your precursor hormones, LH, are working so hard to get your testosterone levels up, but your testosterone levels are non-existent. So that can happen if you're obese. And again, obese is not what people think obesity is. People think obesity, they think someone like really big. If you're 5'10", 205 pounds, that's considered obese. So getting lean is the best step you can possibly do. For a male that's around 5'10", 6 foot, your waist should be 32, 33 inches max. Now, the second thing, and this is all stuff that you should already be doing, it's very important to lift weights, to strength train 2-3 days a week, get in some intense exercise. That intense exercise is giving your body actually a reason to require higher levels of testosterone. If all you do is work at the computer, get up, go get a coffee, go get food, and you're not utilizing your testosterone, well, your testosterone levels aren't gonna be quite high. Now, third, you need to have a balance, right? A balance of protein, fats, and carbs, okay? A lot of people make the mistake of going to low carb diets or low fat diets. And the research is very clear. Doing either low carb or low fat is not optimal for testosterone levels. You need both macronutrients to get your testosterone levels to where they should be. In fact, there's research on low carb diets with higher protein, testosterone comes down 30%. And actually your sex hormone binding globulin on low carb diets gets elevated, and then more of your total testosterone gets bound up, and so it can't exert its function on the cell. So I recommend eating a balance of fats and carbs and keeping protein levels moderate. I get steak, I do potatoes with some butter, broccoli, I'll eat chocolate. The worst thing you can do for your testosterone levels is going too low in carb or too low in fat. And secondly, if you're cutting and you're losing fat, you want to take the fat loss very slow. A lot of guys want to go too low in calories, too much cardio, and being in too big of a deficit will actually mess up your testosterone levels. In fact, I've gotten extremely lean. I've gotten very lean recently, and my testosterone levels have been staying in pretty good shape. Sex drive is all there. It's not as high when I'm at 8%, but my sex drive is great. As far as the best foods to really build your diet on, what I like to focus on is a high amount of steak. I like to do leaner cuts of steak, like flank or strip loin. The amount of nutrient density inside red meat, inside beef, is very high. It's very high in B12, it's very high in zinc, it's got creatine in it. So lean cuts of beef are amazing. Whole eggs are amazing. Potatoes are great. I actually am a big proponent of focusing on like stuff like broccoli and cauliflower. There's some cool evidence showing that, you know, those cruciferous vegetables can actually help reduce estrogen levels. Really cool. I've even been experimenting with doing a little teaspoon of raw honey. When I have my chocolate at night, I'll do a little teaspoon of raw honey. It adds a little bit of calories, but raw honey can actually help increase your luteinizing hormone, which is the precursor to testosterone. So I actually like raw honey, some onions, garlic, stuff like that, but that's kind of what I base my diet off of, and some fresh fruits. I find that is really where I feel the best, and there's some good nutrients in all of those different foods that are very beneficial. Now, there's a lot of things that people do that can actually mess up their testosterone levels. In fact, there's so many different chemicals in the environment that we're exposed to, okay? Phthalates are bad, so I use completely only natural products, natural soap, shampoo, deodorant, and I don't use any sort of scented products. Now next, okay, you know, vitamin D is gonna be very helpful for testosterone production, so I recommend, you know, you can supplement with vitamin D. There's research that's quite clear that vitamin D is going to be helpful for testosterone levels. You can get vitamin D in the sun. Here's the craziest thing. The sunscreens that people are using because they're scared of the sun is the worst thing for your testosterone levels, the sunscreens. And the effects last for not the day, but for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I would recommend getting more of a all-natural sunscreen without all the parabens and stuff like that if you're going to use sunscreen. Or just kind of avoid, like, just get your vitamin D and then get out. Don't sit in the sun for extended hours of time. Now, sleep is also going to be one of the most important. Most people's sleep is bad. I like to sleep in a cold room, completely dark. There's no limit to how cold I can sleep at. It could be freezing cold in Canada. I can open the window with a fan. I can sleep amazing. I like to sleep with it cold. Max 65, 66, and that's pushing it. But you want to get a very high quality sleep. And one of the best ways to get a high quality sleep is an hour before bedtime. Stay off the electronics. You can even use some blue light blocking glasses, but stay off the electronics. Slow down your breathing. Cool exercise you can do from the military is basically 4 seconds in through the nose, pause 4 seconds, 4 seconds out through the mouth, hold 4 seconds, and then in. 16-second box breathing. You do that for a couple minutes and you're so much more relaxed. And sleeping is one of those things where, like, if your sleep is bad, it's gonna take you, you know, a couple weeks to get in the good rhythm, but then once you're in the good rhythm, like, you sleep like a baby. So those are sort of the main key components of really setting the stage for higher levels of total free testosterone. What else is important, and I believe there's a big behavioral interplay between your testosterone levels and how you act, and even how you stand. You know, if you walk into a room and you're very like this, and you're very quiet, you're like, you know, you're just kind of like crossing your legs and taking up not much space, your stress hormone goes up and total testosterone levels go down. If you open up, you take on that position of power, a position of authority, you're signaling your body to elevate testosterone, lower cortisol. So you actually have to live and have a certain code of ethics to have a high level of testosterone. There's a mindset to having a high level of testosterone. Don't be a bitch. You say you're gonna do something, you freaking do it. You go into the gym, you push hard. But guys are so weak, and again, it's an interplay. If your testosterone levels are naturally higher, it's gonna be easier to act in accordance of this. But if your testosterone levels are a bit lower, you gotta force yourself to actually be a man of action, to be a freaking leader. In fact, every time you're scared to do something, you shy away. Oh, there's a cute girl, but I don't want to. You think your testosterone levels are gonna be high when you fucking can't take action, you can't take a step. So you need to become that person that is that leader. You need to become that person that isn't scared to take up space. You need to become that person that says they're gonna do something, they do it. They crush the weight, they hit the PR, they get excited. One thing that happens as you get in a relationship, you get married, it's very common, the trend is testosterone levels come down a bit. As you get more and more children, if you're on crying babies, testosterone levels come down a little bit. So it's good to throw in some element of being around strong, focused, ambitious men. And that just being around cultivating the right atmosphere and being hyper competitive and pushing hard is a very important landscape to be in that position to produce higher testosterone levels. I think I just saw something recently, I didn't get too in depth with it, but even in prison, the testosterone levels, and it's obviously guys that tend to commit crimes are going to be more risk takers, and so their testosterone levels are going to be higher. But even in prisons, the testosterone levels are very, very high. Whereas if you're a guy that's around women and babies all day long, your testosterone levels are going to come down. So there is this interplay in the environment. So you have to actually, and when I talk to guys that struggle with low testosterone, their mental model is so off, you know. And here's the one big thing that you want to take from this. The mind and body are so much more connected than we think. The thoughts that we tell ourselves reaffirm who we are, and it affects us on a epigenetic level, it affects us on a physiological level. So what you want to do is, if you're like, man, I struggle with testosterone, my sex drive is low, knock that shit off. From right now, your testosterone levels are fucking high, okay? Now, to really take things to the next level, there's a few supplements that are very, very helpful, okay? The 3 minerals that are the most helpful for testosterone levels, and I've been experimenting with these and I've seen a massive, massive increase in sex drive. Zinc. zinc is really, really, really helpful. And funny enough, even though I eat a lot of steak, when I got my nutrient panel done, my zinc levels were still a little bit low. So I've been supplementing with zinc. There was a point where I was getting a cold quite frequently. After I got COVID like over a year ago, I just kind of felt like I was always getting colds every few months. Since taking zinc, nothing. And actually, in fact, one of the reasons why higher genetic males actually produce more testosterone is because they have a higher functioning immune system, so they can handle the effects of having higher testosterone. So zinc is great for immune function, and it helps increase free testosterone. Magnesium, okay? Magnesium is really, really helpful in sedentary people and also in athletes. And also every time you ejaculate, every time you exercise, you're sweating, you're burning a lot, you're actually depleting these minerals. But the one that actually shows a lot of benefit going above what your actual daily requirement is actually boron, okay? So doing a higher amount of boron than your body actually needs actually helps increase free testosterone. It actually acts as, it's anti-estrogenic. So these 3 minerals, if you really care about getting your testosterone levels to where they should be and you really want to get a higher sex drive, feel the benefits of more drive, more ambition, high testosterone levels, these 3 minerals are very, very effective. Now there's 2 herbs that I really like, and there's 2 herbs I stay away from. The herbs that I stay away from, ashwagandha, okay? I stay away from ashwagandha simply because a lot of people, including myself, ashwagandha, it can be okay to take for a short period of time. So what you notice, you get reduced depth of feeling. So I know guys that have taken ashwagandha and then the excitement, the fulfillment of life goes down and they just kind of become numb. So ashwagandha has one of those side effects that I'm simply not down for. You want to learn how to tolerate risk without having to kind of numb yourself down, how to handle, life. And there's some very, very cool exercises that you can do that I'm going to be getting into in another video that can absolutely transform your mental model. And it's all perception. It's all perception. There's some cool journaling exercises you can do to just get complete control over your mind and also have greater ability for your brain to produce serotonin and dopamine. The other one is Fadoja, because there's a link between toxicity, even in testicular toxicity. So simply, I just don't think it's worth it. And again, it's one of those things where you should not be taking it all the time. So a lot of testosterone supplements will use these 2, and I think it's better to stay away. The 2 that I find are very, very helpful and powerful and have shown strong research benefits is Tongkat Ali. Really, really good. Also improves erectile strength and improves sperm quality. Andrew Huberman, who is a neuroscientist, very in-depth in testosterone research, dopamine, stuff like that. He is big on Tongkat Ali. He speculates it can increase your total testosterone levels 100 to 200 points. That's a big increase, okay? I don't know if it's going to go that high, but Tongkat Ali is very, very good, even if it increases at 50 points. And the other one is Forskolai, and there's some really cool research on Forskolai, on helping increase testosterone levels. As well, it actually increases CAMP, which helps improve fat loss, funny enough. So you get some really cool benefits with these 2 herbs. Now, when you take all the steps I talked about, plus these 3 minerals, these 2 herbs, your levels are freaking amazing. As long as you haven't had some crazy testicular injury or some crazy head trauma and your body just can't produce the LH, the FSH like it should, you can get your testosterone levels to an amazing place. In fact, I think that life gets very, very good when you can naturally increase your total and free testosterone levels. You do not want to be, and this is also why I'm very against people going down the anabolic route, because once you go down that anabolic route, you can effectively shut down your production for life. And now you have to take TRT for the rest of your life. Or now, your just levels aren't functioning. And one of the problems with taking TRT is that it will mess up with your fertility, right? So it'll mess up with your fertility. And if you plan on having children, you really don't want to have to do that, especially when you're in your 30s, 40s. So it's better to really get your levels to where you want them to be naturally. I'm not someone that's against TRT. I think that if your levels are just crushed because of some issue that cannot be solved naturally, and you're gonna get a much higher quality of life with TRT, then by all means. But we can solve this in 95% of male, maybe higher, with these natural steps. And this is the supplement that we created, the Kino Mojo. We launched this like a month ago. It completely sold out, but our manufacturer is able to speed up production, so we have it back in stock. Before I was taking it, my sex drive was really good, felt great, but on this stuff, I'm like, damn, I can tap it 3 times a day, every day, easy, that's rookie numbers, okay? That's just me. Your experiences might be different. But this Kino Mojo is fucking amazing. And this is the Mojo, it's the Kino Mojo, okay? I see other names, people doing intense, whatever, alpha this. No, Mojo, that's what we're doing. Since the 80s, men have lost their mojo, okay? Testosterone down 40%. All these environmental toxins, even having your phone right in your next to your balls. I keep my phone in airplane mode literally all the time. I'm on airplane mode, okay? You cannot reach me 90% of the day. I'm untouchable. I do that for my mind. I do that also because I don't want that radiation next to me. Our testosterone levels are getting attacked from all angles, from foods, the phthalates, even the way they're telling men to behave. They're trying to take away your masculinity. They're trying to take the strong males and women and just reduce the polarity. The mojo's been gone, and I'm here to bring the mojo back. So take every step in this video seriously. If you guys want to try the mojo before it sells out, I love this stuff. There's not a better supplement to support testosterone levels on the market than this. Everything I talked about is inside the Kino Mojo. I think that having high testosterone levels is a secret advantage in life. It is a secret advantage in life that's going to give you that extra drive, that extra ambition, that extra leadership. It's going to make taking risks more fun. It's going to make effort feel more fun. And it's going to make life a lot better. So you want to get those levels. If you best thing to do is get your levels checked now. Take this for 2-3 months and see where your levels are, as well as doing those steps. You're going to find you can actually get your levels to a much healthier level. And now I'm going to be getting my testosterone levels checked again soon at a much lower body fat. So it's going to be really, really exciting. But that is the video, okay? Boom.